yeah, whatever the problem is, social collapse, you know, social. But they do they have, you know, those youth when they go and harass women, they also behave under the assumption you could do this because she is a woman, and you can get away with it for some reason because she's a woman. I mean, that's a culture I'm interested in.
Well, I don't want to say that this is again one shade of the Islamic phenomena. Women were always considered in Islam as creatures who were created for the enjoyment and pleasure of men.
We were talking of the opposite for 5 minutes. Not in Islam.
Yeah.
Islam never said that the women are just creature for
Islam and I don't say that Islam said that.
Yeah.
This is one of the interpretation. Some people think this way.
Yes, but this is not the real Islam.
Yeah. Well,
it's not the real Islam. واحنا نقول كده.
Yeah, because it's
not going to harass
again.
But also that backs to the fact this is a man society, a masculine society.
Yes.
That allow the man to interpret the Islam the way they want. Why can't women interpret Islam and the way they want and have the right to? My point is talking about you know, the relationship between men and women. Is it kind of there is equality there? You know, do you feel that?
Well,
men and
the higher the class, more equity is obvious. Yani, more refinement in dealing with each other, more respect for each other's rights. But the lower you go, it is man's world.
It's interesting. So it's back to the socioeconomics.
I know, for instance, a woman a cleaner who used to come and work for me something like 25 years ago. Once she told me that she is one of 3 wives of the same man, and this man doesn't have a job. He doesn't care less to go and have a job or work because he lets his 3 wives go and work as cleaners, and they get him the money, and he sits on a chair in front of his house all the day long. His children also are sent to work.
You remember this?
And this
guy.
And this
television series in Ramadan. Last Ramadan there was this in the television series in Ramadan. كانت مسلسل بتاع أولاد الشوارع about the streets.
مش فاكرة
اللي كانت بتمثل. فكان واحد كده هو قاعد.
This is a pattern. It's a pattern.
It's a social model.
موجود في الطبقات اللي هي lower classes في ال popular districts in Cairo. بولاق, Mbaba, the districts.
So you go back again to the economical issue, economical phenomena.
Actually, if you know that wars. Why did wars break out? For economical reasons. خلاص. Everything.
Both.
Well, let me. I know we cannot go for. I mean, we have a lot to show here. What you guys given us, but do you know who's Dr. Hiba Kotb?
Hiba Kotb, yes.
What is this?
She's teaching.
Sexology, you know.
And she appears in regularly in one of the programs.
Well, I'm just saying in such a conservative society, you have somebody talk about this taboo subject, talk about sexuality and sexual research.
Not so closed, I think. It's not taboo.
Yeah. Can you talk about it in public and television, national? Talk about?
Well, in the past, it wasn't decent, of course, to approach these topics. Well, with the change of of society and the development that took place. It's not a taboo anymore.
You see some shows, I don't know if originates in Egypt or not, but when people call in, like women, and talk about the very intimate relationship and sexual abuse, and people start talking. You see it in a public conversation, people can talk about this issue, but
the point about Dr. Heba Utb is she approaches the issues about intimacy and sexual relations in a very, I say, and it's been said to me a lot of times, in a graceful way. She talks about it from the scientific point of view, with no vulgarity.
Right.
And she usually addresses problems that are creating real controversy within each of our homes. So this is why people accepted her. And there is not a lot of people and doctors who could go in public and talk about the same issue in the same graceful way.
so is this like an exception?
I think so. I think so, because going back a little bit behind Dr. Hala Sarhan, she was addressing similar issues, but in a very vulgar way that people was always criticizing her. Even the media, her colleagues themselves were. But usually, whenever I saw anything written about Dr. Heba Utb, it was usually in admiration.
Yeah. What you've seen her, you've heard her. What's your personal take on how she handles
The issue?
The issue.
I say it was a taboo and still is, but people are trying to not make it a taboo.
Okay.
And she was the door to that. People could address such issues in a proper manner.
Respectable way.
Yeah,
Can this
graceful
conversation
manner.
carry on like in a social club or in a meeting, in a gathering of women and men? Can they talk on the same issue, or is this just a very specific?
Not everybody can carry out.
Yeah, but and we know men together who talk about women, and women together talk about men.
No,
and their relation with them, whether they're husbands, their boyfriends, their lovers, whatever.
No, I'm talking in a public gathering.
It depends on how you talk about it.
So
it's a scientific way. It's okay. It's acceptable, but nothing else, of course, would be acceptable.
There is always a culture, context, and there is always the legal context.
The what?
Legal.
Legal, yes.
Are they comparable? Is our legal system is ahead of our culture, or vice versa?
I think our legal system is ahead of our culture.
So our legal dragging our culture.
Yeah. But that's why you find a lot of cases in the courts, and it's already had a sentence, especially in the divorce cases. And the court had said it's sentence, but it never gets executed because of the culture of the people who execute this.
What about this?
I went once with one of my friends to testimonial with her in a divorce case, and I was with her mother and her uncle. And when the judge saw us, he said to her, "Didn't you find men to bring them with you?"
I
was furious.
What do you think?
What are you talking about? Really? It's allowed. Yes.
Can he say that?
And he was furious. She said to me, "Please, auntie, don't say anything because he will."
He knows you.
Don't.
She knows. Magda will let go.
This is
You're gonna lose the case.
He's a judge, and the law, very clear about this. But because of the culture, he objected.
ده كان قاضي شرعي ده؟
لا مش شرعي.
I expect this from قاضي شرعي.
How about this no-fault divorce, which they don't. Men and women are equally responsible of that divorce, and everybody goes